Welcome to everyone watching this online or in the Zoom meeting. We're going to start the meeting in around 10 minutes, the event. So it's great to have you here. And I know you cannot see my wonderful face, but that's okay. So we're going to start in around 10 minutes. Let people get in. I would say it would be very helpful if you can share the YouTube link and the Zoom details with as many people as possible so we can reach out to even more people during the event. And yeah, we'll start in around 10 minutes.
The other way, I admitted one of my friends. Because you made me be co-host, right?
Oh, okay, welcome. We're starting the event in around 10 minutes, as I said, so you can get comfy. And it would be very helpful if you could share this to as many people as possible. Thank you. All right, let's get started. Welcome everyone back to another VidyaDrishti event. Um, it's it's been really special, I'd rather say, for these events to happen. We actually had one back in the start of February, rather, with the author Chandrika R. Krishnan, if you remember. And that was a very good success. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people enjoyed it, and surprisingly, the event was supposed to go on for like 30 minutes, but it went on for 2 hours. So we're back. VidyaDrishti is back. All right. So what is VidyaDrishti? You might think, right? Quick introduction. I'm Pranav, of course, and VidyaDrishti is an organization that helps to improve the writing skills of students from the age 8 to 20. We're increasing this age limit slowly, so chill out. Um, and we do this by way of something called unstructured learning. So we believe everyone can write in this world, and we think that writing cannot be administered by reading textbooks or stuck in a boring classroom. Writing has to be administered by exposure. It has to be all about exposure, exposing students to more content, and that's how we work. We call it unstructured learning, where we expose our students to more and more content. What I'm going to do is, at the end of this event, I'll share our website link with all of you via email, and you can check us out there. And if you want, you can even register and write your first article with VidyaDrishti today. So today's event is kind of special. Today's event is very, very inspirational. And I have Kshitij here to talk all about it. Over you, Kshitij.
Thanks, Pranav. All of us write something. We fret over our fingers getting tired and overworked when we have 10 of them. Just imagine the plight then of young Ashvin Karthik, an aspiring author with only 2 fingers. Struck with cerebral palsy, he had 2 fingers which he overworked and overworked and overworked to publish 2 books in the last 2 years. Let's listen to him now as he takes us through the process of writing with 2 fingers.
Just before the event starts, I'd like to inform you all to please keep your microphones muted, your videos off, and please raise your hands or write in the chat about any questions. Also, live questions will be taken on the live stream via chat. Questions will be entertained only at the end. Moving on, without further ado, let's just hand it over to young author Ashvin Karthik. Ashvin, all yours.
Thank you, Pranav and Kshitij, for that nice welcome. And I must say, I'm absolutely thrilled to be amongst you today. And you know, for me, the energy that you guys have been watching you guys for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, Pranav just spoke to me 2 weeks ago and invited me for this meeting, and then I also did take a look at the VidyaDrishti website. I must say the energy, the enthusiasm you guys have is infectious, and all of you, Kshitij, Pranav, Sid, Kavya, everyone, right? Brilliant work. And as you said, uh, every one of us can write. There's no the prescribed way to write, and it's just writing. I mean, I would,
You're talking.
you know.
Quick interruption. Ashwin sir, if you could turn on your camera, that would actually help a lot.
Okay, sure,
Like,
sure,
yeah.
yeah, sure, sure. Yes, I am visible now. Am I? Yes. Yes, I
Let us.
Yeah.
am. Yes. Yeah. So that's me, and I have the San Francisco famous bridge behind me. You know, bridges have been always inspirational to me, I always love bridges, so that's one background I have put. Alright. So I also see Subramani sir in the audience. Hi Subbu sir. To tell you to tell all of you guys, Subramani sir is actually my writing mentor, and before I started took writing seriously, he was the one who inspired me and to said I can write. So a lot of credit to my writing goes to Subramani sir. I would like to take this opportunity to thank him again. I cannot thank him enough, but once again, thank you, Subbu sir. Yeah. Um, okay. So just to confirm with all of you, is my voice understandable, audible, or good?
It would be very helpful if anyone who cannot understand Ashwin sir's voice just writes in the public chat saying they can't, because right now mute access is currently prohibited. So if you cannot understand it, just write in the chat and we will help you out.
Yes, because uh, to those of you who may not know, as Satish mentioned, cerebral palsy, my physical condition, sometimes my voice gets a bit slurred, but then with a minute or two of breathing, it gets back to normal. So do let me know if you have any issues there, and I'll try to be more clear and understandable. Yeah. All right. Uh, so going forward, as I said, and also Pranav mentioned, writing any one of us can write. There's no prescribed or a textbook way where you can there's a method to write. I mean, the I have known many the authors who do follow different methods and routines to write. But for me, I would just share my experience of writing and how I picked it up. But before that, to 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 tell you how writing came to me or happened with me, I would have to take you to my childhood because, as they say, uh, to become a writer, you need to read a lot. But then, for me, when I was young, even reading was very difficult. I Because I had weak hands, I couldn't, hold the book or turn pages of the book. So it was my dad who introduced me to books and stories. Literally, he was my storyteller. Like every parents tell bedtime stories to their kids, my father was no different. But then uh, um, the reason why he told me stories was not just to put me to bed and make me sleep, but actually those were the stories which inspired me because he would tell me stories from the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Arabian Nights, you know. Sindbad the Sailor was one of my favorite stories because the inspirational voyages Sindbad took up. and the adventures he went through were so exciting, so inspirational, and so motivating. But and I would imagine myself as Sundarbad himself, or characters like Arjuna, Krishna, and these were moments where that gave me strength. That you know, yes, by then I knew that there is something different with me, and um, but these were the stories that made me believe that anything is possible. And slowly, I would, well, there was a the feeling in me that someday I would also write such stories, and and that was when the dream of actually becoming a storyteller uh, came to my head. The thought of telling stories. Well, then in school, I mean, I was. It happened to me that I started penning short poems. Now, I would like to. I always like to play with words and may experiment in my poems where all the lines of my poetry were rhyming. They would always, I would always try to uh, make the next line rhyme with the previous line. So if there were four paragraphs in the poem, every para had a different rhyme to it. Right? So it was also made me uh, made me use the dictionary more. I I improved my vocabulary through poetry. It was always fun to think of four different words, four different words which would rhyme with each other, and four so 16 16 lines and four different types of rhymes. So it was always fun, and that was the beginning of my writing journey. Um, um, then I as I grew up, and back then we did not have laptops or mobiles, right? And I had to use a paper and pen, and I couldn't hold the pen, right? So so it was more challenging for me to write as and when the thought came to me. So because if I'm if I'm sleeping in the uh, in the in the night and there is a thought that came to me, I couldn't immediately wake up and pen that thought on paper because I mean, if I had to wake up, everyone in the house has to wake up. My mom, my dad, my brother, everyone. Because one person could not handle me. So I would remember and frame the whole poem through the night, and so many times if I would wake up in the night, and I would try and memorize the whole poem that in my head, and in the wait till the morning, and um, when I had access to pen and paper, I would pen it down. I'd hold the pen in my own way only two fingers, but I would manage to uh, write it. So that was how I my first few years. I mean, not first few years, for a long time, till I was able to afford a laptop and a mobile where I could now, you know, uh, key in and save the poem immediately. That was how I used to write. And coming to college, uh, you know, by then I was I actually enjoyed the whole process of poetry, and even a few of my friends who learned music would we would collaborate and compose a few of my poems into songs, and we were having fun. Uh, so that actually um, also helped me make new friends because uh, as you know, in college, I mean, uh, uh, these my friends had, when we were in the engineering college, and they wanted to impress some of their girlfriends, or the girls wanted to impress some of their boyfriends, and they would come to me and ask me to write something, and they would pose as if they themselves had written that piece. So I actually enjoyed that, and I would write for them, and they would come back and tell me how it was received. And sometimes they also said that their friends did not believe that they had written that poem, and they would they had to bring them to me, and they would I had to tell them they had actually written that poem. So that was all the fun part. But then um, the thought of that telling my own stories never left me, because I always grew up reading a lot, and authors like Jeffrey Archer, Enid Blyton, and then Sidney Sheldon. These were people who I followed, R.K. Narayanan and others. And whenever I read Sidney Sheldon or Nancy, the Hardy Boys from Enid Blyton, I always those were stories of investigation and some thriller and those lines, right? So that was the genre which always attracted me towards it. Um, and then I read the Da Vinci Code uh, by Dan Brown, and that book actually inspired me a lot. The amount of research that Dan Brown has put in, the way he describes the places, I found it mind blowing, and that was when I decided that what from here, but I will at least write one story of my own. And in 2015, this was just after I had received my um, national award from the President of India. And before I went to the Rashtrapati Bhavan in Delhi to receive the award, um, I was very nervous, because uh, I was missing my father who had expired when I was in school, and he always told me that someday you should be a recipient of one award from the president, and that day had actually come true. And I missed him so much. Uh, and maybe that was the reason I was very nervous. And my mom and my whole family understood that, and they told me that it is Father is watching from the heavens above, and he will be so thrilled to see you actually realizing his dream. Um, And just couple of hours before we left from the hotel to the Rashtrapati Bhavan, uh, I received a call on my mobile, and the number the screen read as private number, and I immediately realized that it was a call from none other than one of my role models, that is Sachin Tendulkar. Um, I received the call, and I spoke to him. He wished me luck, and he realized that I was in my voice that I was not my normal self. Um, he asked me that, why is it so? And I told him the reason. And he said, Ashwin, once you receive this award and you go back home, you make it a point that you you share your journey of life in a book, because that journey will help and motivate many people in similar situations like you, uh, to never give up. And that will be a true tribute to your father. So I can, after all the award ceremony and everything, I came back home, and I did not know how to write. I you know tried to read a few books which would speak about the writing and all that, but I couldn't get the connect. And that's when I met Subbu sir, and he said, you know, just believe in yourself and share whatever you want to. And don't think about um, how the story will come, how it will be received, and all that. That's all, secondary. Just start start somewhere where you feel comfortable, and let the story take over, right? And that's how it was. Uh, it was a lot of effort, yes. But by then I had a laptop, and I started typing, but with just one finger working, and it was not easy. I would not say it was definitely not a cakewalk, right? Because I had to type, retype again. A new thought comes in. The mind is working at a pace of light, and your body does not uh, correspond to it. So every thought that comes in, you digest it, then you write it, rewrite it so many times, and that was not easy. But then that's the beauty of any um, any project you take up, right? If you are truly motivated to do it, you will not feel it is a burden. You feel you enjoy it. You enjoy the process of writing, and don't look at uh, um, where is the destination. Um and that's how I learned a new lesson of my life. Though maybe it was um, something I practiced, but then I had not realized it unless I started writing. That is, the journey is always more beautiful than the destination, because the destination should only be a milestone, not the end of your journey, right? You achieve something, you don't sit on your laurels and celebrate for the rest of your life. You again look for new challenges, you move on, you learn, you fail at times, and then as you go on, you learn and improve on your skill, you will be able to achieve what you set out to achieve in the first place. But you never stop, right? Because uh, I have understood that the moment you stop, that is when you stop growth. And by growth, uh, I do I do not mean success or money or fame or nothing like that. Growth is just as a individual. You grow, you improve, you be the you be the better version of yourself each day compared to the previous day, right? It doesn't mean that you you can achieve anything in one day. It's a process, right? You cannot climb the Mount Everest in one day, right? You start taking trekking small hills, then small other peaks, and as you grow confident, as you learn better at that skill, and then finally you attempt the Mount Everest, right? So I have not even reached the half of Mount Everest yet, but I am in the process. That's the whole beauty of the journey, right? So now coming to the book I started writing as my own autobiography. I took 3 years to complete that, because with my day job, I had to go to office, work, come back home, and then write. But then I never took that as a additional responsibility, because I would look forward to opportunities where when I can, come back from home, freshen up, and sit on my laptop to write. But then, as I told you, it demands a lot of effort, and writing is definitely a lonely journey. You cannot, multitask and write. It is not like, I'm doing something else and parallelly I will write. No, at least for me, it is not possible. So, uh, I took 3 years to finish that script, and then uh, Subbu sir helped me edit it. But yet, it is not published because I'm still looking for the right moment to publish it. but then, as I said, that I did not want uh, um, I did not want my autobiography to be the only book I write, and that is when I turned myself into the world of fiction, because I always believed that you know fiction, creative writing and fiction writing is my true calling. And as I told you, I was always inspired by authors like Sidney Sheldon, um, and adventure writing. So after a lot of thought, um, Mm, the plot of my first book, The Relic, came to me, and this was a project that I did with a very dear friend, um, and colleague, my ex-colleague at work. Um, his name is Madhav, and we we wrote that novel in exactly 1 year. Again, we had to do a lot of research, because the story was about the treasure found in the temple in Trivandrum, the Padmanabha Swami temple, and the plot revolves around that treasure. So because it was involving a lot of facts, a lot of history. The research had to be very accurate. So that was a great challenge for me, because neither myself nor Madhav could go to libraries, or do that kind of research. So my only source of research was a few local friends from Kerala and the Google. So Mr. Google has always been my greatest friend in writing, and I had to read a lot to do that research. And through that research, I understood one more thing. The second lesson of writing for me was that you know even if I'm uh, sitting on a chair and staring out of the wall, I am at work as a writer, because it is just not gathering the data. The data would not suffice to build a story. It requires a bit of creativity, a bit of imagination, and I understood that as a writer, I have the liberty to create my own world, my own characters, and give those characters the qualities that I want them to be. Right? In a sense, um, I could play the role of God Himself in the world I create. So that was a very powerful thought that I experienced during that book, right? And so while I wrote and while I did my research, a lot of things I read and learned about the temple, about the history of the kingdom, you know. Um, but again, as I said, every day I felt incomplete if I had not spent time on the story. Well, Uh, there are there were days when I could not write because of too much work at office. I would be working late and stuff. But whenever I could find time in the day, my mind would run back to the plot. I would think, what could I do better in that story? What twist could I give in the plot now? So constantly, one part of my brain always thought about the story, and that is when I learned another lesson of my writing journey, which was that like your body needs food and nutrition and water, your story needs your attention. Without your attention, the story will not grow. It is totally dependent on you. It is you who builds the story. It is you who is entirely responsible for your story, for your character, for the entire plot. Because your characters will only do what you want them to do. And the day you put them to rest, they will be in the state of inertia until you pick them up and drag them to completion. So that is a very important thing that I learned in my writing experience, that you need to pay attention to your story, your character, and your plot. The moment you neglect any particular character, that will be the moment when you create cracks in your story, because if you don't pay equal attention to every character, that the it is like, putting more weight on one of the plates on a weighing balance, right? The more the balance, I mean, the balance should be equal. Otherwise, the uh, the weighing balance will not work properly, right? So every character needs equal attention. Then, then the next thing was, I completed the story. Everything was good. But how to publish it? But that was not, for for a long period of time. I felt uh, probably unless people read it, unless they give you their feedback, there's no point in you writing. But then the moment I completed that story, the feeling was so fantastic. I felt elated. I felt no matter what happens to the story, whether it gets published, does not get published, it doesn't matter, right? For me, the achievement was that I have, created my own world of characters, my own plot, and I have I have taken a story. I mean, I've created a story from thin air with nothing in my hand, with no experience, but I was able to complete the whole story. And I was happy with the end result. No matter if even if the story does not get published, I'm happy because I did not write for fame. I did not expect uh, anything from the story. I only wrote it for the passion I have for storytelling. And that was the most fulfilling and satisfactory feeling ever experienced. And that made me feel I wanted more of it, right? And again, that's as I said, that I wanted more of it. So I started thinking on my new plot. It almost took me 1 year, right, to just think of my new plot. But even during that 1 year, the amount of reading I did, the amount of research I did, that will never go waste according to me. Someday, I hope that I'll pick up a plot from those readings, those learnings, and build another story from them, right? So now let me tell you about the second book I wrote, and this this story I built up was an experience of my lifetime because um, from school history was one of my favorite subjects. I always loved I always loved the the learning about the past because I believe that without knowing our past, building a future is not possible, right? And yeah, see, my friend says that you loved history, but because he was my he was my scribe, he had to suffer because all the uh, all all the wrong answers I told him, he was the one who had to write my answer sheets, and he had to always come back home with a with a so painful hand because I made him write so much. Well, on a serious note, I truly believe that without knowing our own history, we can never build a successful future for our own self. So, um, you know, so I always wanted to write one plot about history, and uh, among uh, among all the kings that have those have ruled India. My favorite king has always been Ashoka the Great for two reasons. One, because his mentor was Chanakya, and I have always felt Chanakya was one of the greatest thinkers in the history of India. And the way he built or guided Chandragupta Maurya to build the Mauryan kingdom, and then the way he helped Ashoka to govern it, he had no parallel thinkers that was as capable as him, according to me, in his times. Yes, there were Western thinkers like Stalin and others, but then they were way after Chanakya, right? Again, so um, I, I, while I started thinking on my second plot, um, one one day I was amongst friends and we were discussing this topic of secret society. Uh, 1 second. We were discussing about secret societies, and every everyone spoke about um, Illuminati, Freemasons, Priory of Science, and other secret societies, but no one mentioned any society that was native to India, right? And that was when um, a thought hit me about why not dig up some research on Indian secret society, because I believe that India being such a old civilization, one of the oldest, if not the oldest, and with such a rich culture and so many kingdoms, it must have been possible that there was at least one such society that existed in India. And of all people, Chanakya must have thought of something like this, if not anyone. So I started my research on the Indian secret societies, and I came to know that it was indeed the Mauryan kingdom under which a 2,000-year-old secret society was actually in in existence. And according to popular conspiracy theories, it is the oldest secret society that ever existed ever in the history of mankind. Right? So I was elated and I said, this is the next plot I'm going to write about. And I started backtracking. I did a lot of research about um, the society and other things. But then I also was aware that um, because it is the story has a historical backdrop to it, the the story might not successfully be able to hold the attention of the readers. So I needed to have a very strong plot around which the story revolves. And so um, it's my practice again. Uh, so whenever you write, there there are two types of writers. One is one are those who uh, who write the plot on a free will, right? They just take the story as it comes, and others are plotters. They have a proper start, and before even they start writing, they know the end of the story, and then they start backtracking on building the rest of the gap between the beginning and the ending. I happen to be among the second type. I knew I had to know a beginning and the ending, and then I would build the story. So I decided I would make this a murder mystery. So in the beginning, obviously there was a murder, and then the ending was to find the culprit, the killer. So between the two poles was the story, and that's how I started backtracking. And the result was I was able to complete the story. The novel is called Faceless, The Mystery of the Carved Arrow. And yeah, that was the whole experience of writing my second book. I think I've spoken enough. If you have any questions or comments, I would
So,
like to.
yeah, so I'm going to open up the session for everyone. Firstly, thanks a lot, Mr. Ashvin Karthik. That was a wonderful speech, very inspirational, and it was truly heart touching as well. So I'm going to open up the session for questions. You guys are free to unmute in.
I hope I made some sense. I did not and did not bore all of you.
No,
If
no,
I
no, no.
did, I'm sorry.
So you guys can give your feedback, and you're open to quest. You can ask questions now. You can unmute yourself and ask. Thank you.
Subbu sir, since you're here, I would first request you to share your feedback. I don't know whether I made any sense, but then coming from you, it will mean a lot. Thank you, Roshni. Thank you.
I want to ask him a question about one.
So we have Shitej here who has actually have a question right now. So Shitej.
Excuse me, sir.
Sure.
What did you do to like improve your conditions of the policy you have?
Okay, so cerebral palsy is a condition where in which there is no cure in the medical world, right? So the only thing that can help you is constant physiotherapy, and which is indeed very painful. I also underwent couple of surgeries on my backbone and hands, which uh, reduce the stiffness in my body, but then it cannot cure, right? So the only, as I said, physiotherapy is the only thing that can help you, but it is very slow. So the improvement is not expected in, I mean, e- even to even 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 to be able to talk so much, the amount of speech therapy I have done is immense. I mean, till 2 3 years ago, uh, I was not able to talk as clearly as I am now. People would not understand what I'm trying to say because I was only able to blow air from my mouth. There was no voice coming through, right? There was no words coming through. Only people who have been with me for a very long time were able to understand what I'm trying to say. But anyone new, anyone stranger to me will never be able to understand what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, and also to be able to move one finger of my hand, it took almost 25 years. That was the extent of um, severity of the stiffness I had in my body. So only physiotherapy, only constant practice, and a lot of will from my mom, my whole family, their support, I've been able to do whatever I have done.
Ashwin, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I had unmuted, and earlier when you asked me to speak, I spoke, but it looked like I wasn't
That's okay.
unmuting. Yeah, so you've covered more or less everything that that's needed to be covered, and you're very clear and eloquent. And see, the best part is the way you explained your creative process. Your search for the ideas, and yeah, I'm sure it made a lot of sense to everyone who's listening, and I'm really proud of you, and I'm really really happy to have known you, and the way you have kind of worked your way to being an author is very inspiring and immensely encouraging for anyone who's listening to this. So I have nothing to say at all, in the sense, I have nothing else to say. It's a very superb presentation from you.
I'm so glad, Subusai, coming from you. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
And because you were the first mentor I had for writing, I can't thank you enough for that. So, Satish, did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. It helped me a lot. Plus, because my mother was taking me to Ayurvedic rather than giving me actual physiotherapy. She had stopped one day, she had paused one day of physiotherapy for me. So I was just asking if
So,
what.
do you also have cerebral palsy?
I don't have cerebral, but I have Wells palsy.
Okay.
So it just stopped the muscle movements of one part of my face.
Ah, yeah.
Thank you, sir. It helped me a lot.
Thank you.
I
Thank.
think I think your little event today, I think, has touched a lot of people's hearts today, Mr. Ashvin Karthik. And personally, what I'm going to do is I can personally see myself actually going back to this, listening to it multiple times, and what I'm planning to do is actually writing an article on this event on VidyaDrishti. If you could probably convert this whole event, probably if you could actually do that into a smaller written form factor and post that on the website, I think that would really help our readers as well.
Sure. I'll be more than happy to write it and post it as well. But you will have to give me a couple of weeks. But I'm not sure how fast it's going to be. But
Sure,
I'll ensure I do it.
sure, you can take your time, sir. Don't worry.
Yeah. Any any other comments? What any questions from you? Because
Actually, I can't really think of many from my side. I think Kshitij's question was my main, and he kind of got it answered. But overall, I will tell you this. I think just the way that you said it, firstly, I think was very clear for everyone. A lot of people, when they think of cerebral palsy, they think of speech disorders, people who cannot speak. And a lot of people had actually told me before this event, how are we going to understand the whole event, how are we going to understand what he's talking about. And truth be told, there were, I think, a few seconds of those doubt in my mind too. I knew I could understand you from the call, but I was not sure about everyone. But I think today's event really has taught everyone that speech and really physical barriers are not really barriers for writing, because creativity is a completely different dimension. And it's one of those things where it doesn't matter what barriers you have in front of you, it's really more about how much are you ready to persevere. And I think your event has really taught a lot of people that, and not just me.
Thank you. As I said, the story, there is a story, and around us, so many stories around us waiting to be picked up and to be narrated. It is just up to us, if we are observant enough to to identify those stories, and then do we have the will and the perseverance in us to tell it to share it with the world, right? Because as you said, there is no barrier. If you actually want to achieve something and do something, if you have the passion, the will, and the perseverance to do it, there's nothing stopping you, right? And for a story to be told, you don't need hands or fingers. It is just the mind that has to be clear enough to tell your story. And the other thing that is important is the belief that you have in your story. Because unless you believe your story, you will not be able to convince anyone else around you about the story. So, extremely important is to have that kind of belief, that the conviction about your story.
Exactly. I think even that's why it's so honest. It's so important to be honest in your story, because what happens is when you include facts that are not actually true as well. The problem is that because you don't believe in those facts, they kind of come out as lies in your story, and really they kind of spoil your story. But when your pure and undiluted honesty is flowing out in your story, I think that's what makes a huge impact.
Very true. And I experienced this in especially while I was writing Faceless, right? Because usually things like secret societies and all this conspiracy uh, groups, they're considered to be violent or bad towards the society, right? But uh, because uh, the amount of uh, honesty Chanakya had, and the amount of uh, uh, patriotism that the people of that era had. For me, the people like Chanakya or Chandragupta Maurya or even Ashoka, right? These are my inspirations. Or as I said, the characters of the Mahabharata, or like Arjuna or Karna, Duryodhana, though Karna was on the wrong side of the battle, but he was truly loyal to his friend. He never gave up on his friend, and these are qualities that inspired me, and always motivated me in life and uh, in my writing. So that is why I said stories are such a powerful form or method to inspire the future generations and the current ones.
So, I have a quick question about your stories as well. How much of these are just fantasized, and how much of these are based on real experiences that you have? Because I'm trying to write my own at this stage, and I don't know if I want to pick a real incident or a fantasized one.
You know what, Pranav? You actually answered your own question in your previous statement.
Oh, yeah! I just realized, yeah, it's important to be honest about the story that you tell.
Exactly.
That's correct.
So, I mean, yeah, there is a bit of fantasy in the story, but that is to keep the audience hooked, or the readers interested, because a bit of drama, a bit of a bit of the masala is important, especially when you're writing fiction, right? But
Yeah,
the as I said, the research, the emotions, the characters that you create, their qualities are mostly, at least for me, I pick them up from people around me, right? So
yeah,
if you talk about the lead character of my second novel, I have based it upon my mom, because the character is very heroic, and in my life, my real hero is my mom, right?
yeah,
So a lot of the characters that the lead character has, the protagonist has, I will resemble my mom, right? So
right.
yeah, I mean, yeah, and also, even if you're writing a negative character, a villain, right? There's no need that you entirely give him a dark shade, right?
True.
You can always make him a gray character, right? Because it is not that the person can be entirely bad and cruel
No,
and negative.
and usually every single action, be it cruel or good, usually always has a valid reason that it
Yeah,
goes with it. And that's what I think makes up the great stories, that their villains aren't just plain old cruel. I think the fact that the villains have a story of their own, the villains
yeah,
have faced pain in their own life. I think that's what's important to actually consider.
absolutely, absolutely, and the gray nature of their character brings in the power to the story, because whatever they
Exactly.
do will have a reason of their own, and there will be a purpose to their existence, right?
Yeah.
And even in the protagonist, it's not that he's all pure. Every one of us have good and evil in us, right? It's only that the choices we make us who we are. So it is the same with the characters of your story.
I
The
think
the
very well
choices
said.
the choices that they make are your choices. You are the creator.
True.
So yeah,
I think that's very well said, especially about the choices and the character, and really how I mean it carries forward to real life too, where you are defined by the choices that you make. So I think that's really important to keep in mind when writing, and even in real life. I think at every step you've got a fork in the road, and it's not always like a good or bad decision that you make, because both of them may have their own impacts and trade-offs. So I think that's a very well said point. So
Thank you.
do any of you all other than me actually have questions here that you want to ask? All right. So that
Sorry, it's not
okay.
a question, but sorry, I was a bit
Sure, go ahead.
find the unmute thing. But it's not really a question, but when you were saying about villains not shouldn't only be cruel, something else came into my mind. I agree that villains shouldn't only be cruel, but nor should heroes only be great. I mean,
Absolutely.
I've seen so many stories where the hero's always doing the noble thing, always doing the right thing. But just like villains are their own humans, it's like people in the middle are their own humans. Heroes are also humans.
Absolutely, you're right.
Points where
Absolutely.
the heroes as well are in a bit of a dilemma. That's why I'll just say this. I'm thinking of writing some stories, and all I think is this. I never ever want to make the heroes only great, noble people who only do the right thing. They should have their own doubts, they should be
Definitely.
humans.
Definitely. That's very right. Right? Because, as you said, they are also humans, and even if you talk about any great epic, right? For example, Mahabharata, the Arjuna or even Yudhishthira, Krishna, they had their own dilemmas, but what made them heroes was the choices they made despite the dilemma they had, right?
Yeah. Like
So that
in Mahabharatam, even Arjuna did so much. So many great things, and even he almost put down his weapons when he was had to defeat the Kauravas.
exactly, but then
Right.
the
But
choice he made of coming back and picking up his weapons and fighting his own family members is what makes him a true hero because that
very
was a
true.
choice he made. But he was in a dilemma, right? And that dilemma is natural. We all
Very
go
true.
through those dilemmas, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Because it's easier, in this way he's actually even greater. If he'd never been faced with the dilemma in the first place, he's great, but he's unnatural. He's not like a human. But somehow at least every hero seems greater to me after they faced their own dilemmas, their own fears, and still emerged victorious and did the right thing. That is what makes them a true hero.
Yes, exactly. That is why I mentioned the character Karna.
Yes.
Though he knew that he was on the wrong side, he never gave up on his friendship. He
Yes.
knew he would lose the battle. He knew he would die in the battle, but then still, despite all this, he still stood by his friend and
Yes. That
he
is very
fought
touching.
till the end. And that's what makes Karna a true hero. Though he was on the wrong side, he is a
Yes.
true hero.
Yes, I agree.
All right. So if people don't have questions, we finally come to the end of this wonderful presentation. I really wish it could have actually gone on. So what I'd like a few notes. VidyaDrishti, this is not the last event. We actually have events every twice. So we have every second and fourth Saturday of a month. Um, and the next event will be tuned to you via email. We will let you know. All you have to do is just register on VidyaDrishti, the website, I'll share the link of that website with you via email, and I will also share a feedback form with you via email by tonight. It will be very helpful for us if you could actually fill that out. Also, don't forget to join our Telegram channel and our Facebook group. The links of both will also be emailed to you. The link of the Telegram channel is actually even on our website page, so you can even check that out. We actually post updates there as well.
Pranav, would you be sharing a recording of this event?
Yes, so it has been streaming live on YouTube, which automatically records it as soon as the stream ends. So I'll share a link to that with all of you as well. As soon as get over, which you can also share it with all your friends. Share this link. And if you have any further questions, I think you can comment. And Mr. Ashvin Karthik, I can actually relay all these comments to you if there are questions that come up later on in comments, and then you can reply to my comment.
I can also share the link of my second book if any of you
Yeah,
are interested, and
I think you actually WhatsApped it to me as well, so I'll email them the same by tonight as well. So I'll send you a huge email package to all of you with all this stuff. It would be great to see your article as well published, Mr. Ashwin Karthik, and also all the users here, all the registrants actually here. It would be great to see your next writing piece published on the site.
So folks, just believe in whatever you write. Do not have doubts. And every one of us have a writer in us. Just let him free, and I'm sure all of you can be the next Dan Brown, the next Sydney Sheridan, R.K. Narayanan, Chetan Bhagat, whoever. Just have that focus, that drive, and the belief in what you want to share with the world. Right? All the best.
All the best to everyone.
It's great to be amongst you, and the conversation I wish could have gone forever, but then we will be in touch, and I will be more than happy to share my experiences with you, and I also will look forward to you guys. If you happen to read the book, to share your feedback and reviews with Pranav, and Pranav has my mobile number, and Pranav, you can share it with all of them. I will be more than happy to hear from you guys.
Yeah, I'll share that. I think it'll be great to hear your feedback on the event for all of you. And if you have any other follow-up questions, and you can please continue to share actually the recorded link as well with others, because I think this is going to inspire generations going forward. So you can share that with others as well. So with this we come to the end of this Saturday as well. It's been wonderful, and I will see you all. We actually at VidyaDrishti will see you all in the next event. That's next week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Bye and